So today YouTube, welcome back to Cambodia. I'm currently here in Battambang in the village of Phnom Sampho, and right behind me is a house that I just recently finished building. In today's video, I'm going to take you through the entire process, tell you how much everything costs, and then give you my final thoughts. But before we get started, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing and also share this with your friends and family to help me out with the algorithm. Okay, we are going to start with a quick tour of the house. First of all, it's actually two houses. It is a pre-built wooden house. They basically come in these units, and we ordered two of them and had them join it together. Now, typically they aren't as high as this one is. I really wanted something with this big space underground for entertaining and hanging out. This is probably my favorite feature of the house. And we have like an outdoor kitchen built. We have cooked several times here. The only problem is when it rains, there is a lot of rain that gets under here. Hopefully we can fix that by adding some awnings or something. We also added an outdoor bathroom here. It does have a Western style toilet. Has a urinal on the outside with nothing really blocking you. We also added a water tank. And we'll go upstairs real quick. And my second favorite feature is this front deck here, which has an amazing sunset view right around like 4 or 5 o'clock. As the sun's setting, you get this amazing light, and also it typically is very nice and breezy up here. Heading into the back here, is kind of like a mini kitchen. There's a sink here, refrigerator, and we have a hot water kettle. Some storage down below. And I'm going to take you into one of the rooms here. This is the one I'm staying at. I've been here for a couple weeks now. Pardon the mess, but you do get two large beds, some cabinets for storage, a fan on either side, an air conditioner, and a bathroom. This is a wet bathroom. If you don't know what a wet bathroom is, just basically means that everything gets wet because the shower is right in front of everything. It's very typical here in Cambodia. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the house. And before we jump into the construction of the project, I want to offer up to anybody that is interested in staying here, please reach out to me. I'm looking for people that want to experience the village life here and sort of test my house here, to give me constructive feedback on things that I may need and other ways that I can make it more comfortable. But I will warn you that if you're interested in staying here, that is not a 5-star hotel. Think of it more as glamping. The way it's built, it's actually more like a cabin, a wood cabin, than a house. I built this specifically to use as a homestay, and also for when I visit, I have a place to be like my home base. But anyway, let's jump into the actual construction of the house, which started out way back, probably about a year ago. We started looking for builders that were making wooden houses, and that's what I wanted specifically, was a wooden traditional style home. And we had stumbled across a company on Facebook that is out of Kampong Cham. But we reached out to them, gave them our specifications. We went back and forth over a couple of different blueprints. Very basic design, very simple to put together, and they told us that it could be completed in a month. We placed the order, and it went out earlier this year to their construction site and saw the house being built. So we're currently at the place that's building my house, and as you can see here, I'll show you around. That's what they do here. They just build a bunch of houses. These are basically pre-built and then delivered to the location. And they said that, I believe this one here, that's my house, or one of the parts. It's actually two houses. We're gonna have two houses that are connected together side by side, and then a kitchen, I believe. But this is the one, and I believe that's the other one right here. Oh, look at this. It's at now.
นั่นสกรอมบ่จ้ะไอ้เชือกสกรอมแจงไอ้สกรอมตะกอนก็ได้แต่บางเครื่องสไลด์จะอังจะไอ้ไอ้สไลด์จ้ะมีกระไรบานสกรอมจ้ะแถวสกรอมตะกอนกำลังเอาแต่บานสกรอมจ้ะเนื้อใส่เชยชัยบ่อันนั้นสไลด์ด้วยสกรอมบ่จ้ะอันนั้นใส่ชัยบ่จ้ะบาโซนั่นสไลด์
So while the house was being built, they sent a couple guys out here to our place here in Phnom Penh, and they started working on the supports or the stilts. Okay, current progress. We've got a bunch of pillars up and others in various stages of being completed. I'll show you what it started out as. You can see like a concrete pad. That's like the foundation. And then they use this box to make a concrete block with the rebar in it. And then that's the form, which they fill with concrete, and that's what it looks like over here. And you see this loop up top there. The very top there's a loop. That's what they'll strap the house to. Like the house has like a thing, a nail, or yeah, like a bar at the side, and they like hook into that. That was the first thing that kind of threw me off guard, was how they built this. To me, that was just very odd. I felt like that would not make for a stable ground, but there's a reason why they did it that way, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But it took them probably, I think it took them about maybe a little bit over a week to get the first of the homes constructed and on a truck to be delivered here. Yeah, they delivered the houses on a truck, and that was the other thing that kind of had me worried. Was, first of all, distance from Kampong Cham to Phnom Penh is several hours. I believe it's about a 5 or 6 hour drive. So I was worried that something would happen to the houses in transit. But they assured me that they've done this many times. They delivered all over Cambodia. Yeah, about a week and a half into it, they delivered the houses here, and getting to Phnom Penh was only the first part, the easiest part in my opinion. Getting back into our land here, that's a lot more difficult because the roads leading back here are very narrow. There were trees in the way that had to be trimmed down as they were coming through. There were places where I was like, there's no way that they could fit through. It was funny because everybody, this is a very small village, so everybody came out and was watching this. Basically, they delivered the house in 3 separate parts. The 2 houses, and then the back part, which is the bathroom. But once they delivered the first house, I actually had to leave. I was at the end of my trip, but in about, I think it was like 3 weeks later, I did come back then to make sure everything got completed properly. I don't have any photos of the actual lifting of the house onto the supports, but they basically brought in a truck that had a huge crane on the back, and they strapped the houses to the crane using logs underneath, and they just lifted up and put it on top of these support beams. And the reason why they did the support beams the way they did was that once they get into that phase, they need to be able to move the support beams. So they couldn't connect the support beams directly to the foundation or to the ground. They had to basically build it in a way that the beams are movable. So that's the reason why they did it that way. And once they have everything in place, once they have both houses up on the support beams, then they lock it in place by using these almost like these, basically the rebar that's built into the concrete, and then they put these huge bolts through the bottom of the house. From there, that's when the final phase, or the finishing phase of construction happens. So after the house is delivered and then put on to the support beams, it's basically 3 separate buildings that are pushed up against each other, and then they have to basically join them together. And this stairway they built here. But let me show you guys real quick how they joined it together. So if you can imagine, this is actually 2 houses. The front deck is actually already built when they deliver it, and then they join the deck together like this. See this middle section? You see the color's kind of different. And then they build this walkway and this ceiling, and they join everything together here like this. So this is kind of like the third building. It's actually 2 bathrooms, one on this side, one on the other side, and then this kitchen. That came as one whole unit. From the ordering to the delivery to the actual construction of the house, all in, it was, I want to say it was close to about a month and a half or so. So once we had the house basically finished, just the house itself, we had to hire an electrician to wire it. We had to hire some concrete guys to do this whole concrete floor here, this whole patio. They also did the kitchen, the bathroom, and then the water reservoir, the backup water system. Every so often, doesn't happen a lot, but every so often they shut off the water to Phnom Sampho. When that happens, you have absolutely no water to take a bath or to use the toilet. So that's why we put in the water reservoir. But when we switch over to the water reservoir, there's also low pressure, so we might need to add like a water pump. Oh, and I forgot to add that the concrete guys also did most of the plumbing and the sewage and all that for this house. In hindsight, I should have found somebody that was a little more specialized for plumbing, because I felt like the plumbing system's not quite up to par. Sometimes the water pressure is low in one of the bathrooms. Okay, so everything from the moment we ordered the house to the point where it was at a state where it was livable, it took about, I would say, like 2.5 months. Now, they initially quoted us some crazy time, like 2 weeks, to have everything delivered and set up, at least for the house portion. But yeah, it took a little bit longer than that. And then the concrete itself, the concrete and everything underneath it, that was the bulk of the time, but it wasn't like active time because we were doing it right around Khmer New Year's, so they took a couple of days off for that, and then they had to come back and finish the kitchen, the bathroom, and all the other stuff. But yeah, I would say maximum 3 months if they're taking their time. But again, the land was already pretty much prepped by the time they got here, so you also have to consider that. As far as like the current state of things, I would say I'm probably around, I'd say like 90% complete with everything that I want to do. Real quick, you see this kind of a sandbox, and that's exactly what I wanted here. It was a giant sandbox. Actually, it was kind of a happy accident because we had these huge mounds of sand, and we were going to just kind of spread it out and fill it in with top dirt, or topsoil, but I'm like, you know what, let's turn this into a giant sandbox. So I had some more sand delivered and had my uncle build this kind of makeshift sandbox, which we'll finish a little bit later, but we still need to add a little bit more sand. I want to add like the finer place sand. There's just something about sand that makes, I don't know, I don't know if it's an earthing thing, but I like having a sandbox next to my house here. The kids love it, so it's almost like our own little mini beach without the water. I don't know, maybe I'll add like a water feature or something here later on. That's kind of where we're at the moment. I'll have many more ideas as I spend more time here, but yeah, that's it for now. Alright, let's talk about how much this all cost me. I know you guys are curious, but it was, let's just start with this. It cost me a lot more than I expected, mainly because I just kept adding things like this huge front porch. I really wanted a huge front porch to be able to enjoy the views from up here. As I mentioned earlier, in the evenings, the lighting is spectacular, and watching the sunset to the west here, and then to the south is Phnom Sampho, and if you're lucky, the bats actually fly from the bat caves over in Phnom Sampho Mountain right over the house here. I've had several instances where I've been out here and the bats flew right over us, so it's really a spectacular sight to see. But anyway, back on the subject of how much this costs. So if you buy the houses as a single house, it's only about 14,000. And then you can add on an additional house, like what we did here, for I believe it was right around like I wouldn't say like 5,000 or 6,000. It was just around, right around $20,000 for 2 houses together. And then we added on the bathrooms and the front porch, and just the house itself came out to $23,000. But keep in mind that it's just the house and the installation of the house. We also had to add the concrete down below, and then we added an additional bathroom downstairs, because when you're hanging out downstairs, you want to have to run upstairs to use the bathroom, and then the kitchen as well. And all of that came out to, I want to say, right around 7,000. I'm just giving you guys like roundabout figures because material prices change here constantly. So what I'm quoted now may not be what you guys are quoted when you decide to build your own place. So all in house, concrete, everything to a point where it's livable right around 30,000. And then I added on maybe another like just under like 5,000 for everything else, like electricity, fans, AC, beds, all those other odds and ends came out to right around $5,000. So I expect that I'll probably spend at least another $5,000 to get everything to the point where I say that I can list this on Airbnb. So final figure, $40,000. So was it worth it? For me, I think for me, the main thing was just the process. I wanted to see the process of how everything was done. I also have always dreamed of owning a house, a wooden house in one of the villages in Cambodia, and I have that now. So in the end, for me, it was pretty worth it. As far as the quality of the construction, you know, it's a wooden house built in Cambodia. And some of you guys that are familiar know that, you know, some of the work here is kind of, you know, I don't know what the right word for it is. I want to say it's not like construction in the US. It can be kind of sloppy. They just do what they need to do to get things done. But there's several areas within the rooms you can actually see like little cracks. You can see light coming into the rooms. The wood itself is very high quality. I don't remember the name of the wood, but it's like a red wood and it's resistant to termites. Overall, for it being a wooden house, I'd say it's a pretty decent wooden house. It's just very thin. That's meant to be that way because out here in the Cambodian countryside it can get really hot, and the advantage of having a wooden house is that it doesn't retain a lot of heat. But I might decide to add drywall on the interiors later, but for now I'm just keeping it as is, just to kind of experience the whole thing. There were areas in the house where the actual construction of it wasn't great. Like I found nails that came right through the wood, and it was exposed nails basically on the other side on the inside of the house. And the bathroom itself is pretty sloppy. I may at one point will have to redo the entire bathrooms. Just not happy with the way they finished it. You know, it is one of those situations where you get what you pay for. I think we got a lot of house for the $40,000 that I spent. It wasn't meant to be like a house that I'm planning to live in. I do want to rent it out to other people that want to experience the village life out here in Punsumpao. And at some point, once I'm satisfied, I am going to list it on Booking and Airbnb. But as I said earlier, for now, if anybody's interested, please contact me. It's not something that I expect to make a lot of money off of it. It's more of a labor of love. But anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my house and learning about the building process. If you have any questions, if you're interested in doing something similar, please reach out. And if you made it this far, you guys know what to do. Leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And if you really enjoy my work and you want to help support my channel, help me make more of these videos, please consider donating to my beer fund by clicking the coffee link in the description down below. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Peace.